to get someone in here. They were actually almost about to start without anyone covering their match.
Well, we're down to the quarterfinals, so I think actually one of the quarterfinal matches might already have been played. Let's see. Let's check the brackets here. We're still waiting on a couple.
Wouldn't be too surprised.
So Debugger and Fredbrick. Then we've got Twilily and Big Mathis. That should be a good match as well. All right, so what do you think about this matchup, being the sorcerer player of the two
I mean,
of us?
it's tough to say because I also know that Hobbes he's going to do things differently than I would. I've played him, I've seen him play a lot, I've watched him play a lot, and he does have a lot of tricks and builds up his sleeve that, to be honest, I don't. He's got a squad of Chaos Space Marines out. A lot of times he likes to go for like a no Chaos Space Marine build, but in this case I think it's a necessity.
Yeah, I think having that DPS against the
I think we
White
will
Elder.
see Noise Marines. That's my guess at this point.
I mean, we haven't seen a game. Well, I guess we only had the one match up with the Sorcerer so far, but both games they did get the Noise Marines. And,
yeah, I mean, I think a Havoc is usually the go-to purchase as a fourth squad for Sorcerer, but I mean that's going to be pretty easily countered by the Warp Spider Exarch early on. Whereas the Noise Marines, if they can actually get in range of the Warp Spider Exarch, they should actually be doing, well, better than the Havoc, and they can shut down range squads, as well as act as a melee counter.
Look at that position on the Warp Spider, teleporting where the Heretics actually
yeah,
can't
that is real trolly, just standing on the edge of the cliff right there. I don't know if the Warp Spider Exarch knows that they put those things there so people don't fall over, those barriers. There are laws for that.
Yeah, guardrails are a requirement on Calderas, I'm pretty sure.
All right, the Sorcerer caught a bit out of position, does not want to be in melee with the Howling Banshees. Certainly not right out of the gate. Maybe if he has the Sword of Flame, but even that's risky.
Yeah, if he had landed like a full-on Doombolt there, perhaps he could have stuck around and maybe get a model or two off, but especially without his teleport or anything to really maneuver around.
Yeah, but I mean, just very risky, like risking the special attack and then possibly getting wiped on retreat. Really need, like, the Heretic's job, like in this matchup, is often to act as a defensive screen against the Banshees.
So we do have the Noise Marines coming out, as you mentioned. Again,
right.
Hammer's
So
just constantly had the pressure on with that Banshee squad, always being on the generator farm pretty much all the time. Like in every game we've seen him play so far, those Banshees around a couple minutes in have always been taking out that power node.
So we're only minutes in, and to be honest, HolyHammer's already dominating. He's getting a decap on Hobbes Natural. He's already got a full power farm of his own, and although he's got fewer squads, he's pretty commanding in map control. Well, maybe not pretty commanding, but he definitely has the advantage in map control.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 points that Hobbes even has captured, and that's
2
his
points,
two
yeah.
maps.
I mean, I guess the fact that Hobbes doesn't have a lot of like his own points, I would say, actually would be commanding for HolyHammer.
But yeah, now that we're seeing, and he's having a hard time even recapping his own power node, and meanwhile, HolyHammer, like you said, he's got the full gen farm.
This is already brutal. This is like just what HolyHammer does. This is part of what HolyHammer does.
Warp Spider having a harder time dealing with those Noise Marines.
Yeah, so the Noise Marines, they can actually stop the Warp Spider Exarch from shooting. So that's actually one of the reasons why Noise Marines would be a bit of a better purchase than Havocs. The Havocs would get tied up easily, possibly forced off. Noise Marine's going to be harder to force off and more useful against the Warp Spider Exarch. Even using them to shut down the Guardian weapon team. So far the Noise Marine use is so far he's using them pretty well.
Well, that's the thing with Noise Marines is that they pretty much, I mean, any ranged squad, they're pretty much going to beat one-on-one. They can stop, they even stop abilities like grenades and stuff like that. And the Banshees are coming in, but they can get hit by the Cacophony. There's no real range support to take them out if they do get knocked over, but he's trying to pull them into the center so he can get that Space Marine support along with the Doom Blast off of that Chaos Sorcerer.
I even wonder at this point if HolyHammer, with like the kind of tech advantage that he's inevitably going to have, if he doesn't already have it, if he's just going to go like straight to tier 2. without even getting any 4th squad.
No, he's been playing well enough that at the moment he doesn't seem like he really needs it. He just got the advanced targeters on his Warp Spider.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong choice, well, period, and particularly in this matchup, going to be able to very, very easily take out those heretic models.
If Hobbes plays this engagement right, though, this could be a nice decisive push here. He should be able, I think, considering the compositions, be able to take out this gen farm if he plays this engagement well. The Banshees, it looks like he's not even going to try to fight it. He says, you know, he's like, I acknowledge that this isn't going to go my way. He's going to pull the Banshees back and try to at least get a trade on some generators.
Oh, yeah, I see he's going to try to return the generator bash, but it looks like Hobbes might be onto him. And HolyHammer does need to be careful about potentially retreating through 2 heretic squads.
Yeah, they do have the aspiring champions, so they're actually going to be pretty nasty.
Maybe Hobbes isn't quite out of this yet. Actually, it looks like he's doing pretty much like exactly what he would need to do to put himself back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the VPs back. He took out that gen farm. He will be able to defend this generator bash as well. It cost him a couple squads to chase these Banshees all over the place, but getting the gen bash and holding the VPs for a while is definitely what he needed. That said, I mean, HolyHammer hasn't hesitated to just go ahead and pop up his 2nd gen farm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just noticed he had a secondary power farm, so he's not going to lose out on the power income too much yet. I don't know how well he can hold it, especially since there are 2 squads of heretics that they can actually bash decently themselves. Like, put 1 on each generator, and those will go down fairly quickly.
Yeah, so Dire Avengers are doing
already going to tier 2 now.
Yeah, he's managed that, and that's one of the big differences as well, is since he was holding so much of the map and keeping the pressure on, is that he did have a lot more resource. He was able to not only build a secondary gen farm, but still have the resources to go into tier 2, and then still have about 400 requisition on top of that in tier 2. You can see Hobbes decided he didn't even want to break the generators. Oh, no, never mind. He's going back to it. I thought he was just going to try to capture those instead.
Yeah, you know, that could have been a potentially decent idea, but, well, I mean, like, that's a way, like, if you're behind and you need more power income to, like, get more without having to pay for the generators. The other side to that is you need to be able to hold it.
Yeah, if you cap it for just a few seconds and then lose it again, you know, it's really not advantageous to you. So Hobbes looks like is he just moving around the backside of the map here again, or is he going to...
Ooh, he's actually going for Raptors, so he's getting another squad.
Ah, I'm not sure.
HolyHammer's already in tier 2, and that could be a big problem if HolyHammer decides he's going to get like a Wraithlord or a Falcon.
Yeah, it's possible he's misjudging the tech lead that HolyHammer has. Like, he feels like, oh, I got the Gen Bash in, I'm safe to get another squad, but that Gen Bash was just a bit too late. He'd lost... May have lost track. Ooh, a nice looking grenade right there. Oof.
I mean, there was just so much time when HolyHammer had like the full power farm and Hobbes didn't even have his node captured.
No, if you had managed to get the Noise Marines in on that gen farm as soon as they come out, then sure, I would say feels okay to get Raptors. But like you said, there's a couple of other elements in play here that means he's going to have a pretty big window now since he chose to get those Raptors. That tier 2 is going to be against him.
HolyHammer is, I mean, he's not looking too strong. He is now starting to suffer a lot of generator bashes, and he doesn't have a whole lot of resources in the bank. But Hobbes is also still pretty far behind, with not even being in tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, and he obviously knows he's in tier 2 now because the Banshees did go into battle there with their Exarch. Pretty beat up on retreat. They won't quite go down though. I think even potentially if he had moved those Chaos Space Marines over, he could have maybe taken out the Exarch, maybe even gotten the kill if he got the right swings in with the right timing.
You know, I think I missed it on the screen. I don't know if you did, but I heard the Chaos voice saying something about, like, basically the quote that he uses whenever he uses the warp global. I think he tried to warp a squad of heretics.
Oh yeah, we did see that. We did see that on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that on screen, but I heard it and I knew what it meant.
But Hobbes is heading into tier 2, but there is a Falcon on the field, as you called.
I actually really like the Falcon.
It's such a cool unit. That's always been one of my favorite.
It's very underutilized. I don't think it's used that much in teams or as much by lower and mid-level players who play Eldar. but HolyHammer has used it extensively. The few times that I have used it, I've actually been very pleased with it. It's very, very nice if you use it well.
No, it does some really solid damage to just about all armor types with that pulse laser.
Yep, and, it even does a little bit of AV, so it actually has like a slight advantage against like all other transports.
Yeah, definitely. And now he's just going to be able to push right up on this gen farm once again. Hobbes is heading into tier 2, but he's not going to have a lot of power once he gets there. Potentially a blood crusher, I guess he could bring out, which honestly, considering the composition, wouldn't be bad. But he's definitely going to need an answer for that Falcon shortly.
The Sorcerer was bashing generators for a little bit, and I think he rightly stopped doing that. The Sorcerer right now not going to bash generators very efficiently, and he would definitely be better off either capturing just another point, or trying to find something to tie up or force off, or trying to rejoin his forces. Yeah, I see those Banshees just chasing after him. He should be able to teleport away from him and get closer to some support. Looks like he's going for the Guardian weapon team with the Banshees.
Well, he has to unset that up before he can teleport somewhere safe, most likely. Instead, just goes way into the backfield, which could be dangerous. Needs to make sure he can get away from those Banshees at the moment. Both sides just constantly trading gens. He actually managed, he still got his nodes up, but managed to pull HolyHammer back. Ooh, Altark's going to be good.
That's actually one of my favorite things about Eldar. I love just the entrance that the Altark makes. It's one of the coolest things that they have.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ooh, might be a squad down here.
Yeah, that was most likely and most definitely.
But yeah, the Altark call-in is just such... It's so powerful and it's so effective, and the Altark herself is such a cool unit. Like all the sub-commanders, especially the ones that can actually like get around into combat, like the Altark. Like, if you can get some map control and cause some bleed without incurring any of your own, like those singular units are so great because they don't bleed.
And if you notice, we already see an energy shield upgrade from the Altark, so going to make her tankier. And I actually think it's very much the right choice against the Sorcerer right now.
Yeah, we can see she took all that damage, managed to take the Cacophony as well, and now with the Executioner is going to be a pretty big threat as far as DPS on all these Space Marine heavy infantry units.
I mean, the Autark right now, I think she's going to be countering... Well, the Sorcerer is down.
Yeah,
otherwise,
he went
the
down.
Autark, I think, is going to be countering really 3 out of the 4 squads that are out on the field right now. Even the Raptors, because they will probably bleed one of their models trying to go through that energy shield. And certainly the Noise Marines as well as the Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, even if you force off the Autark, like you said, she doesn't bleed, and if she manages to take a model of the Raptors or the Space Marines off, like, that's still attrition against your enemy.
So, HolyHammer now really looks like he's securing a victory courtesy of this Falcon. It was looking like Hobbes was pushing back, and I mean, to be honest, I was worried that early on, when HolyHammer was like right in front of like Hobbes' base, Hobbes couldn't even get his power farm. I was worried that we were going to have like a 3-minute GG. So Hobbes has managed to stay in this. He's keeping it going. He's getting.
He does have, yeah. He's got the Siege missile launcher.
Chaos Dreadnought.
So that'll definitely be a pretty decisive counter to that Falcon. But he's going to have to. I mean, he just lost his gen farm again. HolyHammer has his webways starting to set up around the map. And with Hobbes down to about 150 victory points, he's really going to have to play tight again to fight his way back into this game.
Right now, this Dreadnought, it's almost like all in, because he's spent a lot on that Dreadnought. And it's an answer to the Falcon, but he's got to really make it happen. Whereas HolyHammer's he's now got a full power farm, he's got resources in the bank, so he's got like more plays like just beyond like what he already has.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Whereas
is that even
Noise Marine's going to go down. Ouch.
Oof. Yeah,
got
he stuck that
on
out.
those last 2 models.
Yeah, that Warp Spider advanced targeter is ripping them apart.
But I think what HolyHammer's really going to have going in his favor being, well, kind of being the better player with probably the better micro. Hobbes calls the GG. Is I was going to say, I don't think the Dreadnought would even be able to catch the Falcon, because I think with the way HolyHammer would manage it, he would just drive away whenever the Dreadnought would be around and keep it away from the Dreadnought. So,
right, so
1-0 in
for
favor
Hammer.
of HolyHammer. And I mentioned before that I had received a message from Torpid explaining the noisy HolyHammer situation, and it also made me realize that Torpid is himself not in this bracket. He's not in this
Oh,
tournament.
surprising.
Which, yeah, a little disappointing to see. Says he hasn't been playing very much lately, but I mean, if we remember the Elite Mod Championship, it was actually him in the finals against HolyHammer himself. So he's a potential contender who has not even entered the tournament. A little disappointed about that.
Well, that said, we've still got a pretty solid lineup. We've got Tex, we've got